The last section, we went through migrating data from different sources into SQL and created a sample database for a fictitious company called Patch and Posey. So we'll build on that database, right? We'll use that to go through SQL statements. So this is the ERD, the entity relationship diagram for our sample database. So you have a couple tables, web events, accounts, orders, sales reps, region, etc. So it's just showing you how these tables are connected together, right? So for example, right, when you look here, see that the accounts table and web events table, they are connected via the account ID here and the account ID here also, right? Same for other tables also. So this helps you to know how to write your queries to pull data from the different tables. So let's look at SQL statements, right? So most actions you perform on databases, you do this via SQL statements. And some of the important SQL statements or commands, they include the select statements. This is used to extract data from a database. And it's one of the most important statements, right? Then you have the update statements used to update data in a database. So you're trying to make changes, right? Replace data, update data, right? The update statement comes in handy. Then delete statements, as the name implies, right? It deletes data from your database. Then the insert into, right? Used to insert new data into the database to add new row to your tables, used to insert into. Then create database is used to create a new database. All that database is used to modify your database. Then create table. This is used to create a new table. Similarly, alter table is used to modify or make a change to your table. Then drop table is used to delete your table. And create index, right? So indexes are used to improve search performance in your tables. So you create an index using this statement, create index statement, right? And lastly, drop index, used to delete the index that you've created. Let's look at the SQL select statement. So this is one of the most important statements, right, in SQL. So it's used to select data from a database. And the syntax, right, select column 1, column 2, right, from your table name. So here, column 1, column 2, right, are the field names of your table that you want to have in your result set. So you want to select a particular column, right, or columns, specify them from the table. Then another variation, right, if you want to select all the columns in your table, then this syntax, right, select star from your table. So star means what? Return all the columns, right, all the data from my table. So let's see an example of this. So here I'm on my SQL Server Management Studio, right? So I want to run some sample queries. So let's run a query, right, that selects all the columns from the orders table, right? So return all the columns from the orders table. So back to my SQL Server Management Studio. I'll write a simple select statement, right? Select, and I want all the columns. That will be a star, right? From my table is called orders, right? Orders table. So you could just drag and drop this here. Or you could decide to just type it right manually. Either of them works. Orders, right? As I have this, right, I can execute. Execute. And this is my result, right? So you can see all the columns. This is the ID column, right? Primary key, 1, 2, 3, etc. So you have account ID. This is just showing you what's the ID for all the accounts, customer accounts. Then occurred at, right, the time for the transaction. Start quantity, this is just showing you what's you have different paper types, standard, gloss, poster, right? So this is the number of units that this customer, this transaction, right? He or she bought 1, 2, 3 units of the standard paper. Similarly, 22 units of the gloss paper was bought, 24 for poster was bought. When you add standard, gloss, poster together, right? The total is what we have here, total 169, this total quantity, right? Then the amount, right? This 1, 2, 3, the amounts to what this $613.77, right? This 22 amounts to this in dollars. 24 units amounts to what this value in dollars, right? When you add this plus this, you get total amount in USD. So that's the first query, right? And then the next one says what? Select only the ID, account ID, and occurred as columns, right? So come on here and we'll make a slight modification to our query. So only the ID, account ID, and occurred as, right, columns. So here, right, you put the first column ID, a comma, right? The next column account ID, a comma, the last column, right, of products. From what table? From the others table. So once you have this, right, and execute this, and you see, right, our result set is now narrowed to what? Just 3 columns: ID, account ID, or products, right? And this amounts to what? 6,912 rows. The same with the initial result, right? When you use star. So you have other variations of select statements, right? Select top statements. So this is used to specify the number of records to return. Select top, right? So you want to return the first 10 rows, for example. Select top 10, top 100, select top 100 like that, right? And this is useful for large tables where you have thousands or millions of records. So returning all the records, right, might impact performance of database and might be slow, right? So you want to just see a sample just to get a sense of how the data is structured. So you just use what's the top, right? So return a subset of your table. Now, not all database systems, right, support select top. So you have different SQL flavors, right? For example, MySQL and Postgres, the equivalent of select top is what? Limits, right? While for Oracle is what? Fetch first n rows only and row number. So with MySQL, with SQL Server, right, that's the select top. But then for this other DBs, right, you have different ways of what? Doing the exact same thing. So the syntax, right, in SQL Server is what? Select top number or percent, right? Then the column name or names from what? Your table. So let's say an example. We want to write a query that displays all the data in the occurred at, account ID, and channel columns of the web events table and limits the output to just the first 10 rows, right? So I'll come on here and we want to just work with the web events table. So what we could do is this is my table, web events, ID, accounts, ID, occurred at. So I want to work with occurred at, comma. Also want to work with the account ID and channel. Account ID underscore ID and then channel, right? From what table? From web events table, right? So this returns everything actually, right? When I run this, for example, you see that it returns what all the results, right? 9,073 rows. But now I want just the top 10. So we'll come here, right, and slightly modify this. So I'll add the keyword, right, top 10. So I'm saying what's narrow my results to just the first 10 rows, right? So let's execute this and see what our result would look like. So I execute this, and you can see, right, these now narrowed down to what's the first 10 rows. Let's see another, the next concept. Select distinct, right? So this is useful for columns where you have duplicate values. You want to return the distinct values in such columns. So you use what the select distinct statement, right? It's used to return only distinct or different values. So in a table, right, a column often has duplicate values, but sometimes you want to just see the different or distinct values. So this is useful in such situations. So the select distinct syntax, right? Select distinct, your column names, right, from what your table. So let's see an example, right? This is we are writing a query to return the distinct channels in the web events table. Distinct channels in the web events table. So select channel from web events. So before we run the distinct, right? Let's see what this looks like without the distinct clause. So I execute this. And if you look at the results, right? This is what directs. When you scroll down, you see. So yeah, you have what duplicates, right? Duplicates. When you scroll down, you see other channels, right? They all have duplicates values. But now I want to just see the unique channel. So I'll come to my query, right? And add the distinct keyword. Select distinct, right? Distinct this channel from web events. When I execute this now, you see we have 6 channels: direct, organic, AdWords, Facebook, Twitter, and banner. You don't you no longer have duplicates, right? Just a distinct or different values. So this is the select distinct statement. And then next you have order by statements. So in SQL, right, when you're trying to sort your results, the order by is useful in such situations. The order by keyword is used to sort the result sets in ascending or descending order. So by default, right, order by sorts in ascending order. To sort in descending order, you have to add the DESC keyword. So we'll see examples in a bit, right? The syntax is what select your column names from your table, then order by your column names, right? Then you put ascending, descending, and you can order by multiple columns, right? So let's see an example. Write a query to return the 10 earliest orders in the orders table, include the ID or code at and total amount USD. So some key things, right? We want to return the 10 earliest orders. So it means, right, by using the time components, right? That should be your code at. We'll try to return the 10 earliest. So it means we'll sort the time column by in ascending order. And our results here will include 3 columns: the ID column or code at column and total amount USD columns. So let's see how we can do this. So we want 3 columns. Select ID or code at and total amount USD. From the orders table. Right, and you say it was select the top 10, so I'll do a top 10 there. Right, so let's execute this and see what it gives us. Right, so you see our results, right? 20, we are trying to work the 10 earliest. Currently I'm seeing 2015, 2016, right? So once you order this now, once you see the 10 earliest orders. So let's add the order by keyword here. So order by, right, the time column. So this is a code at, right, the 10 earliest orders. So by the time component, right, what are the 10 earliest orders? So I'll order by what? The time column, right? That's occurred at. So once I execute this now, I expect it, right? By default, it's sorted in ascending order, which is what I want. So let's execute this and see the result set. So I execute this, and you can see, right? Initially, we had 2015, 2016, but now it's now ordered by what? The time component, right? Occurred at, and you can see what's the earliest date is what? 4th of December, right? 2013. And you can see that the first 10 results, right? They are the 10 earliest orders that were placed in this data set. So on to the next one, right? So next one says, write a query to return the top 5 orders in terms of largest total amount USD. So return the top 10 orders in terms of largest total amount USD. And our results will include 3 columns, right? The ID column, the account ID column, and the total amount USD, right? So let's see how we can do this, right? Top 5 orders in terms of the largest total amount USD. So basically, the top 5 rows, right, where we have the highest total amount USD. It means we want to order by this column, total amount USD, in descending order, right? From the highest to lowest in descending order. I want to have 3 columns, ID, account ID, total amount USD. So let's do this. Select. So once ID, account ID, account underscore ID, and then the total amount USD, right? From the orders table. So I can execute this, right? So currently, if you look at the result set, right, we want this to be sorted by what? This column, right? In descending order, the highest to lowest, right? The top 5 guys, the top 5 guys. So I'll come on here, right? I'll add the top 5 clause. Select top 5, right? From others. And then I'll order by. So I want to order by this column, right? Total amount USD. Order by total amount USD. So I can execute this and see my results, right? So I execute this. And you see, right, by default, it was showing me what the list 5, right, in ascending order, smallest to highest. And from our from the prior slide, right, it said what to sort in descending order, you have to add a keyword DSC, right? Descending. You add this keyword for it to sort in descending order. So I'll add what DSC. And now I'll execute this, right? Execute this. And now you can see what it's now showing me what's the top 5 rows, right? Based on what total amount USD. So you have these 5 rows, right? 5 based on total amount USD. So that's for this example. So let's go on to another question. So this says, write a query to return the lowest 20 orders in terms of smallest total amount USD. We want to return similar column, right? ID, account ID, total amount USD. The lowest 20, right? In terms of total amount USD. So we just make tweaks instead of top 5, right? We also make it top 20, but then we'll sort by what amount USD in ascending order. So it will show us what's the 20 lists, right? Descending will be the highest, right? So when we change to ascending, it then will show us the 20 smallest orders, right? So I'll come on here and just make some few tweaks. So instead of top 5, right, I'll do a top 20. And then instead of descending, we'll just take it off. So it becomes what? Ascending order, right? And we can execute this and see our results. I execute this. Look at the result set, right? These are the least 20 orders. So they'll have what? 0 amount USD. So there's some accounts that make any purchase, right? They all have 0, 0, 0 throughout. Those are the bottom 20 rows, right? Based on what? Total amount USD. Yeah, cool. Let's go on to the next one, right? So this says, write a query that displays the order ID, account ID, and total dollar amount for all the orders. Sorted first by what? Account ID. So here now, right, if you look clearly, we're trying to sort by multiple columns, right? So you order by what? First, the account ID in ascending order. And then we order by what? The total amount USD in descending order. So 2 columns, right? The exact same thing, right? But now we order by what? Account ID in ascending order, and then total amount USD in descending order. So let's make that update, right? So we don't want to top anything, just return all the rows, right? So let me zoom in, so this is what I'm doing. Select ID, account ID, amount USD from orders. Order by, so firstly, we order by, I think you said account ID, right? In ascending order. Let me confirm. Yeah, account ID in ascending order. So let's do that. So I'll order by account ID, right? And I'll put a comma. So you know that what for ascending, right? You don't need to put the keyword ASC. You can put it right, but it's not necessary because by default it will sort in ascending order, right? So like this, it means what? Order by account ID in ascending order, right? While for the second column, right? So you put a comma, the next column now will be what you sort by, right? Amount USD. So this is what in descending order, right? DSC. This is what I want. Once I have this, right, I can execute my query. And this is my result set, right? So we are sorting by what? Account ID. So it starts from what? The lowest account ID, right? 1001. And you can scroll down. It goes to the next one, right? 1011, 1021, like that, right? So the catch here is that what? For the same account IDs, right? We are also sorting by what? Amount USD in descending order, right? From highest to lowest. So what happens that what? For all the accounts, right, that have similar account IDs, all those ones with what? 10001, right? If you look closely, you see that what? The ones with the highest amount USD, they come first, right? 9426 and 9230. So this is the highest amount USD for these accounts, right? 9426, 9230, like that, right? So whilst these in what? Ascending order, right? The amount USD is in what? Descending order, right? So for all those that have the same account ID, the amount is what? Ordered by what? The amount USD in descending order, right? So when you scroll down, these list accounts, right? 1001. The next account now, 1011, right? Just one instance. This is the guy. You have what? 1021, right? It's also ordered, right, by the amount USD in descending order. This is the highest for 1021, followed by this, just like that, right? So that's the catch. It sorts the table first by account ID. Where you have what ties, then orders them by what the amount USD, right? The second column in your order by statement. So let's go on to the next. So for this, right, for this, I'll make a new query. So we'll compare the results with this one. This is my first result, right? We'll make another one here. So let's look at the question first. So it says, right? Write a query that again displays order ID, account ID, amount here, the same column, right? For each order. But this time, we'll sort first by what? The amount USD and then account ID. So amount USD in descending order, right? Account ID in ascending order. So let's do this. So back to my SSMS, right? So it's the same query, just slight differences. So I'll copy this so we can compare the results, right? I'll copy this, bring it to my new query editor and paste it here. So I'll make my edits, right? The first one is what? By amount USD, right? In the descending order, and then by account ID in ascending order, right? This is what I want, right? Order by what? Amount USD first. So we are swapping it, right? Here it was account ID first, then amount USD descending. Now we just swapped it, right? So first you sort by what? Amount USD descending, and then next account ID. Let's run this and see the results and compare it with the initial one. So I execute this. Sorry, let's do it again. Execute. Yeah, cool. So you look at the results, right? Here, right? The result is ordered by what? The amount USD in descending order, right? The highest amount, right? So the only time where this second column, right, account ID, would be used to order is when you have two rows, the exact same amount USD, right? So let's say, for example, I have rows that have 112,875, right? The same value for those two rows. Then they will be ordered by what? The account ID, right? The one with the highest account ID, ascending order, right? That one will come first before the next row, right? So it's difficult to find values with the same amount USD. Since this is a continuous value, right? You have decimal numbers. So to see the same amount for two rows will be very, very highly unlikely. But that's the concept, right? When you compare this result now with this result here, right? You can see the difference. Ordered by account ID, right? Ascending. Those that have the same account ID, they're ordered by what? Amount USD descending. But when you swap the order, right? This one comes first, then they are ordered by what? Amount USD. And wherever you see ties, it's then ordered by what? The account ID, right? In ascending order. But we can't see examples because that's very rare for a continuous column to have that, right? So let's go on to the next question, next concept, right? Let's look at the SQL where clause. So the where clause, right? It's used to filter records. You're trying to filter based on the criteria of condition, right? The where clause is useful in those situations. So it extracts only the records that meet the specified criteria. So the where syntax, right? It looks like this. Select column 1, column 2 from your table, where then you put your condition, right? So wherever that condition is met, the result sets that meet that condition will be returned, right? So let's see an example so it makes more sense. So we have the query, right? Write the query that returns the first 5 rows and all columns from the orders table that have a dollar amount of loss amount USD greater than or equal to 1,000. So simply write, select star from orders, choose all the data from the order table, but filter for what? The records that have gross amount USD greater or equal to 1,000, right? So I'll come on to my query editor. We want to return all the data, right? Select star. So let me zoom in. Select star, right? From select star from the orders table, right? And now I want to filter, right? So the where clause that comes here, right? Where, and from our question, right? So orders table, this is the orders table, right? The columns. You want to filter where the gross amount USD, right, is greater or equal to 1,000. So where you can type the exact name, right? Gross amount USD is greater than or equal to 1,000, right? That's the same that. So return all the data, right, from other table. But now return only the records with the class amount USD is greater or equal to 1,000. So let me do something, right? Let's return just this first line first, right? So let's start from others. Let's see how many rows are returned. What's happening? Let's see how many rows are returned. Select star from others where gross amount USD, right, is greater than or equal to 1,000, right? Cool. So I want to just run this first line. Let's see how many rows are returned before we then apply our where clause. So once I highlight this, right, and run this query, only the first line will execute, right? So I run the right. And if you look at my result set, right, you have what 6,912 rows, right? These all the data without my filtering. So let's take off the highlights, right, and just run it out. So now I'm saying what return all data, but filter for those words that have gross amount USD. That's this column greater or equal to 1,000, right? So I execute this. And if you look here, right, our rows is now reduced to what? 1,579 rows. And when you inspect data, right, if you look at the gross amount column, you see that what? All the values are greater or equal to 1,000. So if you look here, right, all the records are greater or equal to 1,000. So you can scroll down, right? You won't see any value less than 1,000 here. So that's an example of the where clause. So let's see another example, right? So this is write a query that returns the first 10 rows and all columns from the others table that have a total amount USD less than 500. Write a query that returns the first 10 rows, right? So top 10, right? And all the columns that are, right? From the others table that have total amount USD less than 500. So for this, right, back to SSMS, right? Just edit this query. So I want what? The top 10 rows, right? Top 10, all the columns, so top 10 star from others. But now I want what? Um, total amount USD, right? Total amount USD. Where is less than, let me confirm, I think less than 500, right? That's less than 500. So let's just confirm. Look. So where is less than 500? Yeah. First 10 rows, amount USD, less than 500. So I come on here, right? And top 10 from others, where this less than 500. So I could just execute this and see the results. So when you look at the result set, right, you have what 10 rows returned. If you look at amount USD, right, all those values, they are all less than 500, right? None is more than 500. They're all less than 500. But if I run this without the where clause, right, you have a different result, right? You see, you have some that are more than 500, right? But when I add the where clause to this, right, with and execute it, it then filters the table and shows only those, right, that are what's less than 500. So that's a where clause, right? And let's see another example. This says filter the accounts table to include the company name, website, and the primary point of contact, POC, just for the EOG resources company in the accounts table, right? So working with the accounts table, right? First thing to know, what table? Account table. What columns are down to return? Company name, website, primary POC. And I'm filtering for what? Just the EOG resources company, right? So basically, where the company name is equal to EOG resources company. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm working with the accounts table, right? Accounts table. So I'll just look at what it looks like first before I filter. Select star from accounts or top 10 staff from accounts. Let's see what it looks like. Top 10 staff from accounts. Right. So let's see what this table looks like. So you can see you have ID column, name column, website, lat, longitude, primary point of contact, and sales rep ID. So it holds information, right, for customers, their ID, their account name, website, etc. So back to our question, right? We want to return 3 columns: company name, website, primary POC, where name is equal to EOG resources company. Once we return, this is the company, like name, select name, comma, right? And then I think you have to return the website also, name, website, and primary POC. So name, and then website, and then primary underscore POC, right? From the accounts table, I want to filter where the name, right, is equal to. So where is equal to EOG resources company, right? So in SQL, right, when you're working with text, you put it in quotes, right? And ensure you have what? Single quotes, not double quotes, right? Single quotes like this. So SQL Server is single quote you work with. Right? Other ones might tolerate double, single, but SQL Server with single quotes. So I'll type in company name, right? EOG resources company. So I don't know if this is exact spelling, but let's run and see what it gives us. We can try to debug to get errors. So I'll come on here, right? Name, website, this from accounts. Just one last look at the question. Yeah, that's what we have. So I execute this. So it looks like the company name, right, is not correct. It's giving me blank results. EOG resources. So let's take off the company. Possibly there's no company there, right? We'll soon look at how to actually do smart searching, right? But for now, let's just assume that this is the name, EOG resources. So I have this, right, and I execute. Okay, so this is the correct one, right? So you can see what the name, right? EOG resources, this is a website, and the primary POC, right? So you're able to what? Choose the name, website, primary POC, and then filter for where what the name is equal to what? EOG resources, right? This. So you can see we have the results that we are after. Let's go on to the next one. So let's carry out some simple arithmetic operations, right? So in SQL, you could do basic operations like adding columns, dividing columns, etc., multiplying columns, etc. So a simple they are, you have defined functions, right, which we'll see that. But for now, let's just do some simple arithmetic operations. So I want to pick a column, right, that divides the gross amount USD by the gross quantity to find the unit price, right? So amount, right, divided by quantity, that will give you what? Unit price, right? So we want to do this for what? For the standard paper. Divide gross amount USD by gross quantity to find unit price, right? And then limit the result to the first 10 orders and return what? Include the ID and account ID in your results, right? So let's see how we can achieve this. So divide gross amount by gross quantity. So let's see how we can achieve this. So select, we have to include the ID and account ID right in our results. Account underscore ID in our results. Then next, I can do is so I'll divide gross amount USD, gross amounts. Let me just put from others so I can get in placements from others table. So I think it's gross amounts, ANC USD, right? So I want to divide this gross amount USD, right? Divide, so I'll put the slash, divide this, right? By what? Gross quantity. No, gross quantity. You know what? Before on this, just visualize what you're trying to do. Select star others, right? So if I run this, just do top 10 star from others, right? So I'll highlight just this and execute this. So we're trying to do what? Trying to divide what? This amount, right? What from USD. Divide it by what? Gross quantity. So that will give us this price, right? So this amount by this, it means that what, for example, if you get 4, it means that what, this customer bought what, 4 items, right? Sorry, he bought 22 items at $4. That results to what, this amount here, right? So basically, when you divide this by this, you get what, the number of units. Sorry, units price rather. This quantity, right? Number of units sold. This is the total amount that was generated from this transaction. Divide this by this, you get what, the unit price. So back to my query, I'll take this off, right? So ID accounts ID, right? Divide this by this. And in SQL, right, is a derived column. So I can give it an alias, right? A name. So I'll say what? As. So the result, this result, right? This result here, right? The column name should be what? I'll call it what? Unit price, right? Units underscore price. So I'm saying what? When you divide these values, right? The resulting column that you're creating, the name should be what's called unit price. That's what I'm saying here, right? From others. So ID accounts ID, right? And then get what? This divided by this as the unit price from other. Is there any other thing additional to this? Okay, first 10 orders, right? So let's top 10. Select top 10, right? Once I have this now, I can execute and see my results. So you can see what's right. This is ID column, this is account ID, and this is what unit price. So basically, when you divide what's gross amount by gross quantity, right, you get what's 7.49. This is unit price across all the gross paper, and it checks out, right? The same price for all of them. It means that it looks correct. So that was a simple arithmetic operation, right? Dividing. So let's see another example. So we are asked to write a query that finds the percentage of revenue that comes from poster paper for each order. Find the percentage of revenue that comes from poster paper for each order. So we need to use only the columns that end with what? USD. So we are asked to what? Do this without using total column. display the ID and account ID fields only also. So ID, account ID, and then percentage of revenue that comes from poster paper, right? So basically, let me just visualize what we're trying to do. So select top 10 star from others, right? When I execute this, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the percentage, right, that come from, I think it said poster, right? Poster orders. Yeah, poster paper. Yeah, cool. So basically, these the amounts from standard papers, right? This the amounts for gloss paper. This the amount for poster, right? So what I did, this plus this, right? We have what? Total. Of this total, what percentage, right, comes from poster paper? But now we are asked to what? Do this without including the what? Amount USD column, right? So it means that we'll have to what? Sum this ourselves with SQL. Sum this, sum this, sum this, and then we'll have to find the percentage, right? That comes from what? Poster amount USD, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve. So let's see how we can do this. So let me confirm. Is there any top 10 restriction for this? No. Okay, so let's go again. So ID, account ID, right? In this case now, I want to do is get the percentage. So to get the poster amount USD, right? So we are doing poster amount USD, right? Divide this by what's the total, right? Now we'll add what's, we'll add standard amount USD plus gloss amount USD, right? Plus poster amount USD. Just make it easier to read. Let me zoom out a bit, right? Zoom in again. So I'm saying what? Select ID, right? Account ID. This column now will be what? These are my poster amounts, right? Poster amounts, right? Then here, sum up all the amounts here, right? Standard plus gloss plus poster, right? This is sum. Then what's happening now? Okay. Once you have the sum, right? Once you have the sum, then poster amount USD, right? Divided by what total sum you have here, right? That will give you this amount, right? For percentage, I'll need to multiply the result here, right? By 100. So I just put a bracket here, right? And multiply it by, I can just say, 100, right? Times whatever you get here, right? But you know what? Let's do step by step. So the first step, right? So that's the division, right? So sum this together and then poster amounts divide by the total you get, right? So let's execute it and see what it gives us. So execute this. So there are some rows, right, that have zero values, right? Zero values. When you sum this, you have zero throughout. So in maths, right, divide by zero error. That was happening there. So for this example, we'll just do it a top 10, right? Subsequently, we'll see how to deal with this, right? But for now, let's just look at the top 10 results. I execute this now, and it should have what's the accurate values, right? So these decimals, right? 0.2. But we want percentages, right? So no column name. We need to give it an alias also. So what I can do is I'll come up here, right? And give it an alias. So I'll say what's as gloss percent, right? So give a line on variable equals percent, right? And now to make it as a percentage, right? I'll say what's 100 multiply this, right? So whatever the result from this, multiply by 100, right? So ideally, right, here, this first row, I should have what's 20%, 26.9%, etc. Right? So let me execute this and see my results. Execute this. And you can see, right, is now what's updated, loss percent, right? 20.01%, 26.9%, etc. So these are under arithmetic operation, right? With SQL. So let's see what we'll have next, right? So we're looking at the SQL like operator. So the like operator, right, is used in a where clause to search for a specified pattern in a column. So for example, we want to look at a column, right? Maybe where the name of the company is equal to, let me say Google, for example, right? Google, but you don't know the exact way Google was spelled. Maybe Google Corporation, Google Limited, right? You don't know the exact name. You want to just find the rows that contain Google, right? So the like operator is useful in such scenarios. You find a pattern, right, in a column. So let's see the syntax for the like operator, right? Select column 1, column 2, right, from table, where column, and then you have what? The like, right? And then you put your pattern there, right? So the like operator goes with the where clause, right? They go together, where and like together. So let's see examples so it becomes more clear. So you're asked to what? Write a query, right, that returns all the companies whose name starts with C. A query that what returns all the companies whose names starts with C, right? So I'll come on here. So the company, right, data, that's in the accounts table, right? Select top 10. Let's see the table one more time. Top 10 staff from accounts, right? Let's see what it looks like one more time. So you have what's ID, name, right, etc. You're looking at what's the name column, right? Get the name starts with C, right? That's a catch. Your name starts with C, right? So for this, select, you can return all the columns if you want to, or just a name column. So select name, right? From accounts table, right? So when you run this, right, you should return all the names, right? But now I want just the names that start with C. For example, this one, right, etc. That start with C. So I'll put the where clause, right? Where the name, right? And then like, right? So in SQL, right, the like pattern, right? You put quotes and then the percent, right? So in SQL Server, percent where you specify the pattern, percent, right? So here I want those that start with C. So I'll type C and then put what? A percent sign. So this is saying what? Search through all the names in the account table and return those that start with C. That's what this quote mean, in quotes, right? Look for those that contain C, that start with C. So C comes first and then the percent sign, right? So we can execute this and see the results. Execute this, right? And if you look at the results, you can see what all my results, right, start with C, CVS, Chevron, etc. Right? So that's a like statement. Let's see another example. This says return write a query, right, that returns all companies whose names contain the string ONE somewhere in the name. So the name can be stone, it can be bone, it can be anything, right, that contains ONE in the name. It can be at the beginning, the end, the middle, anywhere at all. Just return all the companies that the names start contain what ONE somewhere, right? So for this, like operator is also handy. So in this case, right, we'll just we'll put percent sign, right? And then ONE, another percent sign. So this means what? Look at what? Both the start and send, right? Let's go through all the names, right? Anyone that contains ONE at all, return them. That's what it means, right? So I execute this. And when I zoom in, right, look at the results. So Honeywell, right? You have what? ON is there somewhere, right? FC Stone. At the end, you have what? ONE, right? And it's not case sensitive, right? Not case sensitive. For example, this third row, right? You have what? Capital ONE, right? So it returns that also. Capital One Financial. AutoZone also, right? And they have what? One, okay. So all the names that contain ONE somewhere, right? It returns those results for us. So let's see another example. All the companies whose names end with S, right? This is just a slight variation of the first query. So here, right, in this instance, percent comes first and then S, right? So percent first. So it means what? Those that end with S, right? Percent first and then S. So we can execute this, right? When you zoom in, you see that what? All the names, right? They all end with S, right? S somewhere. So this is the like statement, right? Like operator. Let's look at the in operator, right? So the in operator. So it's used to specify multiple values in a where clause and is a shorthand, right, for multiple or conditions. So for example, I want to return where name is equal to Facebook or Google or Microsoft or this, right? So instead of writing multiple or conditions, just say what in, then in a parenthesis, right, you put all the names you want to look for and then run the query. So let's do the syntax, right? Select column name from table name, where column name in. So in your parentheses, right, you put all the values you want to filter for and return your results. So let's see an example. This says use the accounts table to find the account name, primary POC, and sales rep ID for the following accounts, right? So Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom. So let's just look at this table one more time. So let's start from accounts. Select top 10 start from accounts. Execute this. Okay, so it says what's return the account name, primary POC, and sales rep ID, right? For Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom. So select the name, right? Primary POC. And sales rep ID. Right? From the accounts flow. Right? Now filter for what's where the name, right? So the in clause, right? How it works, you put the in operator, right? Where name in, then you open a parenthesis and you type all the names, right? So we are looking for text, right? Textual data, names, right? So you have what Walmart, right? That's one. Walmart. Then you put a comma, right? So between each name, you put a comma, right? Each item, a comma comes in place. The second one, I think you said Nordstrom, if I'm correct. So Nordstrom, right? Let me confirm the last one again. So Walmart, Nordstrom, targets. Yeah. So targets. Right. So Walmart, comma, targets, comma, Nordstrom. You close the parentheses, right? Now just best practice, you end your query with semicolon, right? So once I have this, I can execute this and see my results. Look at the results, right? You have what's the name, where it was Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom. These are the primary point of contacts. These are the sales rep IDs, right? So the in clause, right? It just puts all this in parentheses and it filters for all of them, right? That's the in operator. So another example is what? Use the web events table to find all information regarding individuals who were contacted via the organic channel or AdWords channel, right? So I'll come on here. Let's just look at the table, see what it looks like. So select top 10 star from the web events table, right? So we asked to return all the information, so all columns, right, for individuals who were contacted via the organic or AdWords channel. For this, right, want to return all the columns, select star from web events, right? And we'll filter for what's the channel column, right? Channel, where is AdWords or organic, I think. Those are the keywords, right? Where is organic or AdWords? Yeah. So start from web events, right? Where the channel column, right? In looking at multiple values, right? So in quotes, right? I'll put organic and then comma, quotes also I'll put AdWords, right? Close the brackets and then execute this. So you can see, right? Look at how the results, it contains just those, right? AdWords, organic, AdWords, etc. Right? So this is how you use the in operator. So back to this, let's look at the not operator. So not operator, right? This displays a record if the condition is not true, right? So it used to return values that do not meet the condition if it's not true. The syntax is simply what? Select column 1, column 2 from table where not, so where is not true, right? Returns that value. So example says, use the web events table to find all information regarding individuals who were contacted via organic or AdWords. We just did this now, right? So organic AdWords did it now. Then secondly now, want to find those now who were contacted via any method except organic or AdWords. So the converse of the first query, right? All those that contain organic or AdWords want to return the results. So if you look at the query here, right, this returns what? Those that are in organic or AdWords. But I want to return those that are not in organic or AdWords, those that came through other channels except organic or AdWords. That's very simple, right? You just come on here and you just put what? The not operator, right? Not in, right? So select start from the reference where channel is not in organic AdWords, right? So look at our result sets currently, right? It contains what? Only organic and AdWords, right? When you scroll down, need those two. When I run my results now, not in, it should return all channels except organic AdWords. So I execute this, right? If you look at our result set now, right? It's showing you what's direct, basically other channels, right? Let me scroll and just scroll down. There we go. So you look at all these, right? These are all different channels. You won't see organic or add words here, right? You won't see them here. So the not operator returns the results that do not meet the criteria that are specified. So let's see another example, right? So it says, use the accounts table to find all the companies whose names do not start with C, right? All the companies whose names do not start with C. So earlier we did what? Those that start with C, right? So we want to do those that not start with C. So simple, right? Select name, right, from accounts. Where name, right? So before it was where name like, but now we'll say what? Where name not like, right? Then in quotes, we'll put what? We'll put C, right? And percentage. So I will try. So where name from accounts, select name from account, right? Where name not like C this, right? So I'm saying what? Return all the names, right? Where the name does not start with C. What I'm trying to do, right? So I execute this. And you look at the names, right? None of the names start with C. No names here start with C, right? So that's what I query. The second one, right? All companies whose names do not contain the string one somewhere in the name. So this is also straightforward. Just the converse of our earlier query. The earlier one was right, was had what percent, right? And one, no, one lowercase, right? So where name not like, so where the name does not contain put any anywhere, right? Just the converse of the earlier query we wrote. So I execute this, right? If you look at the names, you won't see anyone that contains ONE anywhere, right? So that's what the not operator. So look at the and between operators, right? So the and operator displays a record if all the conditions that are separated by and are true, right? So where this is equal to A and equal to this and equal to this. So it returns the result that where all those conditions are true, right? So all the conditions must be true before and will return what's the result. And syntax, right? Select column one, column two from table where condition one is this, right? And condition two is this, and just like that, right? So all the conditions, they all must be true for it to return results. So let's see examples so it make more sense, right? The between operator, right, returns values within a given range. And this can be numbers, text, or dates, right? And it's inclusive. So if I say between 1 and 3, right, it includes both 1 and 3 in my results, right? Not just 2 is returned, it's inclusive. It includes both the numbers, right? So I say between 1 and 5, for example, both 1 and 5 are also included in result set, right? Between syntax, simply what? Select column names, right, from table, where column is between this and that, right? So let's example. So this says what? Write a query that returns all the orders where the standard quantity is over 1,000 and the postal quantity is 0 and the gloss quantity is 0. So return all the orders, right? Where standard quantity is over 1,000 and postal quantity is what? 0 and gloss quantity is 0, right? So let's do this. So want all the cons, let's start from orders, right? Where the standard quantity is more than 1,000, right? And gross quantity is equal to 0 and postal quantity. No, postal quantity, no, this. Postal quantity is equal to 0, right? So let me confirm that this is what we're trying to do. So all others, standard quantity is more than 1,000, postal is 0, loss is 0. Cool. Standard more than 1,000 and plus equals 0, postal equals 0. Sorry, is this amount USD or standard quantity? Let me confirm. That's standard quantity. So let's correct this. This should be standard quantity. QTY. So I can execute this and see the result set. Execute. So when you zoom into the results, right, it says what the standard quantity, right, must be what? More than 1,000, right? Loss must be equal to 0 and postal equal to 0. So these three conditions must all be true before it returns the results, right? So only two rows meet this criteria. Where this is what more than 1,000, this equals 0, and this equals 0. So if these two are true, right, but this is false. For example, this is more than 1,000, this is 0, and instead of 0, this is 1. Those rows will not be returned. The three conditions, right, more than 1,000 equals 0 equals 0, they must all be met. That's how the AND operator works, right? They must all be met. They must all be true before the row is returned. So let's see another example. So using the accounts table, right, find all the companies whose names do not start with C and end with S, right? Names do not start with C and end with S. So select name from accounts table, right? Where the name do not start with C and end with S. Where name not like. So start with C, right? So I'll put C first and then %sign, right? And then, so I'll put name again, right? Name, so name not start with C and end with S. So whatever the scenario, if it does not start with C, but it ends with S, right? So you do what? And name like ends with S, you put your %sign first, right? And then S. So I'm saying what? Return the rows, right? Where name do not start with C and the name ends with S, right? That's what this means. And I execute this, right? So you see that what all these rows, right? The names do not start with C, but they all end with S. So they must all end with S, and all of them, right? C won't start any of them. That's what it means, right? Then if they meant, right, the name does not start with C, and the name also does not end with S, then you put a what? A not here, right? Not. So whatever it means, just execute it. So these are the rules, right? Where what? The names do not start with C, and the names also do not end with S, right? So both scenarios, right? The two conditions must be true before is what the rows are returned. And then you want to write a query, right, that displays the order dates and gross quantity data for all orders. So once we return two columns, right, occurred at and gross quantity, where the gross quantity is between 24 and 29. So occurred at, right, the dates occurred at comma and gross quantity, right? from the others table where the gross quantity, right, is between between 24, right, and 29. That's the question, right? So return the dates and gross quantity where the others, right, for the last table where the gross quantity is between 24 and 29, right? And we said that what's the 24 and 29, right? They are both inclusive. So those with 24 and 29, they will also be part of the results, right? So we can execute this and see the result of this query. So it says incorrect syntax near 24. Let's see. Uh, There we go. Where column name? Well, between this and this, right? Between 24 and okay, no, what's happening? Gross quantity. No, that's how it works. What happened? This is just funny. I didn't make any edits. So let's see. So it says what between 24 and 29, right? If you look here, right, this 29, 24. So they are both inclusive, right? But you also have what goes between them, right? 25, 26, 27, 28, like that. So that's the between clause. They have so you have this, right? Use the web events table to find all information regarding individuals who are contacted via organic or AdWords channel and started accounts at any point in 2016, sorted from newest to oldest. So we have two conditions, right? First of all, what table? Web events table, right? All information, it means what? All the columns, right? Look at the channel column. Look at those that we are contacted via organic or AdWords, right? And the accounts were started at any point in 2016. And then what are the results, right? From newest to oldest. That means in descending order, from the most recent to the oldest. So let's do this. It's a bit complicated, but take it in steps. So select star, right, from the web events table, where the channel, right, the channel is in, so you said was organic or AdWords, right, is in organic, comma, organic or AdWords, so just put in, right, organic or AdWords, right, and then you have other conditions, right, AdWords, so via organic or AdWords, right, and started the account at any point in 2016. So it means that what the dates, right, should be in 2016. That's what it means. So if you look at the web events table, right, this the web events table, you have a column for what's occurred at, right? That's the date occurred at. So where the occurred at, right, in 2016, that's where you're trying to tell us. So occurred at 2016, right? So I'll come on here and say what's and occurred at, right? Let me zoom in. Occurred at is between, so in 2016, right? I can just use this method, right? Between So in quotes, I would say what year 2016 or right? 2017, in quotes, 2017 01 01, right? So this saying what um between the first day of 2016 and the first day of 2017. So it means that what from 21st of January 1st, 2016, January 1st, 2017. We said that what the between, right, the values are inclusive. So you might think that these results will include 2017, the first day, right? And that will be incorrect because one just 2016. But dates in SQL, right, in SQL Server, right, it starts from what 12 a.m., right? 12 a.m. So this is what from 12 a.m., right, on the first day of January 2016 till 12 a.m. the first day of January 2017, right? So from 12:01 a.m., this day won't be included. So basically, it's same thing as saying what 11:59 p.m. 2016, 31st January, right? Till this day. That's what it means. So it won't include this actual day, right? 2017 011 for dates because what it starts counting from what 12 a.m., right? So let's include the last part of this query, which is to sort from newest to oldest. So we order by occurred at, right? Order by occurred at, right? From newest to oldest means what? From the most recent, right? So that's in descending order. The most recent to the from newest to oldest, right? The most recent dates to the past dates, right? Descending. So let's run this and see the results. Execute. So first things first, I can see it contains organic AdWords. That's correct, right? And then the dates also contain what? Just 2016, right? When I scroll down, just 2016 right there. So it looks like it checks out, right? And it is in, let me see, it is in descending order, right? This was 31st of what? December, right? Just like that, 30th, 29th. So it looks accurate, right? In descending order. So you're able to answer that question. So the last thing, right, for today, the OR operator. So the OR operator, right, it returns record, right, where the conditions separated by OR are true. So the OR syntax, right, select column 1, column 2 from table. So it's similar to the AND operator, just that instead of AND, you now have OR, right? Where condition A, or condition 2, or just like that, right? So let's see examples. Okay, so let's see examples. So find list of order IDs where either gloss quantity or poster quantity is greater than 4,000. Only include the ID field in the resulting table. So let's see. Select star. No, let's do ID. So you said poster and poster, right? Poster and gloss and poster quantity. So I'll include both just to illustrate the gloss quantity and poster quantity just to illustrate our results from the others table. Others, right? So it says where gloss quantity, right, is more than 4,000 or poster quantity is more than 4,000, right? where gloss is more than 4,000 or poster is more than 4,000. Yeah, that looks accurate. So select ID gloss poster from others, where gloss more than 4,000 or poster more than 4,000. So I can execute this, right? So you can cite this no more than 4,000, for example. However, the poster is what's more than 4,000, right? This is no more than 4,000. However, sorry, this is more than 4,000. However, this is less than 4,000, right? So the or, right? Either one, right, can meet the condition. But for and, both of them must be more than 4,000, right? That's the and. For or, at least one, right, should have what the condition satisfied. So if both are met, that's fine, right? If both are met, that's fine. But from what I can see here, I don't think there's anybody that met both conditions. No one met both conditions from what I can see here. So just 14 rows are returned. So these are the guys, right? Where either gloss is more than 4,000 or poster is more than 4,000, right? So let's see. This says write a query that returns a list of orders where the standard quantity is 0 and either the gloss or poster is over 1,000. So this is tricky, right? It says what's first list of orders where the standard quantity is 0 and it means that what the standard quantity must be 0, right? And this and means that what this first what it must be 0, right? And then what the gloss or poster what can be more than 1,000, right? This all means that what it can. So it gloss can be more than 1,000 or poster more than 1,000 or both, right? That's what it means. But this first one, right? Standard quantity is 0. It must be 0. And then either gloss or quantity, right? Must be over 1,000. That's a catch. Let's update this query. So you say, oh, where what's standard, right? Where standard. So where standard quantity must be equal to 0, right? So where standard quantity is equal to 0, right? Then you have what? And, right? And gloss quantity, right? Is more than 1,000. Or poster quantity is less than 4,000. So you might be tempted to think that these are accurate, right? So you're saying what? These were more than 0, right? And gloss more than 1,000 or poster more than 4,000. When you execute this, right? Let's see the result set. Execute this, for example. So the catch is that what standard, right, must be equal to 0, right? From what we had here, right? Is 0, right? And then what gloss or poster can be over 1,000, right? But now you're seeing what you have some results where these what's not 0, this is not 0, this is not 0, this is not 0. So this is not accurate, right? But our query looks accurate. What's happening, right? So the issue is that what where standard quantity is what's equal to 0, right? And what gloss is more than 1,000 or poster more than 1,000. So we need to what introduce a bracket here, right? And another bracket here. So it now acts like what? Two conditions, right? Either, so you have what? The quantity must be 0, right? And gloss or poster must be more than 1,000. So this is 1,000 or 4,000, right? So this bracket now would help us to what? Return the accurate results. So execute this now. I can see what all the standards, right? They are all zeros, right? And gloss or poster, right? At least one of them is more than 1,000. And for all the rows, right? See that what at least one is more than 1,000. Right. So that's for this query. And then the last query here, right, says what? Find all company names that start with a C or W. So let's take it one at a time. All company names that start with a C or W, right? Let's try to execute this. So this from the account table, right? Company names, account table. Select. So first of all, what will be our result set? So company names and primary POC. Okay, let's work with those. Select name and primary POC. Right, from account where, so what's the first condition? Says that the name starts with A or C, right? So where name like, right? So in quotes, starts with an A, right? So A comes first. A comes first, and then percentage, right? A, right? Or name like, so name starts with an A, right? Or name starts with what? C. So I'll put a C here also, right? And then percentage. So a small c. So it doesn't matter actually, but then a small c. So where name starts with A or name starts with C, right? And then next is what? A C or W actually. That was C or W. So you have capital C, C or W. That's what you have there, I think. C or W. And then next, and so the keyword, right? And keyword and primary contact contains ANE or ANE, right? So let's do this. And primary POC contains, right? Primary POC like, so you say what? ANE. So you have ANE lowercase or ANE proper case. Or primary POC. Proper, yeah. Let's see. But it doesn't contain EANE. And primary POC, not like, okay, does not contain, so I have to put percentage actually in front and behind it, does not contain, right? So look through all the text, search for this value, right? So I'll put percentage in front and behind it. And primary POC, right, does not contain, so not like, right? And then it quotes, you have what? Percentage, right? And then it says what? EANE, right? Percent again. So when we run this, right? Let's look at the scenario again, right? It says what? Those that start with a C or W, right? C or W, that's the first scenario, first condition, C or W, and primary POC contains ENE or ENE, but doesn't contain ENE, right? So let's execute this and see if it gives us the result you're looking for. So the names, right, should not start. It says what the name should start with a C or W, right? So let's see our result set. So I see some C's. I'm seeing some V's, right? So this is not actually correct. It should start with C and you start with C or W, right? But then I'm seeing some V's, some B's. so it's not really accurate. And then it should contain A and E, right? The name, okay, it says the primary POC should contain A and E. There's A and E here. There's no A and E here, right? Let me zoom in. There's A and E here. There's no A and E here. So once those that contain that start with C or W, right? And the primary POC will contain what? A and E, but they won't contain E and E. That's basically what we're trying to do. So for these, right, we'll try to introduce brackets to help us separate the different conditions. So first is what? The name should start with C or W, and so I'll put a bracket here, right? And the primary POC, right, should contain A&E or contain A&E, right? And what? Primary POC should not contain what? A&E. So I can put a bracket here, ignore it, but let's just do it just to ensure this looks accurate, right? So when I execute this now, let's see our result set. I don't think this is still accurate. Let me see. Start with C or W, and then it contains A and E. So this one start with C, but I'm seeing page pattern, so it's not giving my results, right? Let's try to fix this. So name like C, W, right? Let's put it in bracket also. Let's execute this and see what gives us. So now we have what? Two rows, right? Start with C or W, and the name should contain what? A-N-E, A-N-E, but it should not contain what? E-A-N-E, right? So these two meet the criteria. They both start with C or W, right? And the primary POC also contains what? A-N-E in their names. But there's no what? E-A-N-E here, right? If you look at the actual question, right? All names that start with C or W and primary POC contains A-N-E or A-N-E, right? But doesn't contain A-N-E. And our result set, right? They both meet the criteria. So they start with C or W and they contain what? A-N-E, right? Shana A-N-E. But there's no E-A-N-E, right? Anywhere here. So this checks out. So there's a query, right? So I think we'll wrap up. We'll stop here for today. So any questions before we wrap up? Time is fast spent. So if you have any questions, right, you just type in the chat or raise your hand. We'll wrap up for today. So I think I have a message from Nima. Can you lay emphasis on primary key and foreign key? I think I'll talk about this when we talk about SQL joins. So hopefully in the next section we'll talk more about this. So if there are no questions, right, I'll make this video available with data sets hopefully in the next few days, next tomorrow, right? So thank you all for hanging till the end of this section. It was quite long, but then thank you all for staying till the end, right? And I'll catch you guys in the next section. So have a great night's rest. Amazing remainder of the week. Good night, everyone. You're welcome, China. Good night.